What is up, people, and welcome back to part 62 of my F1 2016 career mode here at the Brazilian Grand Prix. If you missed Season 1, Season 2, and the first 19 rounds of this third season, then you can go catch up with the card annotation in the top right corner of your screens to catch up with pretty much everything that has happened over this career mode so far. But we are here today at the Brazilian Grand Prix with a championship battle still on our hands. 34 points is the gap at the moment between myself and Carlos Sainz, which means that the championship battle can still go to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. All we have to do is gain 10 or more points on Carlos Sainz in today's race, and the championship battle will go to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. For example, if we win today's race and Carlos Sainz finishes third or below, then we will take the championship battle to the finale of this third season. So that is what we are trying to do here today, but we know that Toro Rosso is very, very quick around the corners. However, we have got an upgrade before today's Brazilian Grand Prix, so let's head over to Chris and see what he has to say on that.
Hi, how are you today? The improved package has arrived. We're having it fitted in time for FP1. Have a look at the factory report.
So there is Chris, just giving us the usual information on the upgrades that we have done at the previous race, which means we have fully maxed out the downforce on our car. I saved up for quite a while, a few race weekends, to finally get that final downforce fitted onto my car. And there we go, we've got the downforce done. I said last time out at the Mexican Grand Prix, if we didn't get a sponsorship bonus, which we haven't got at today's race, we will be ceasing the research and development, because we could be able to afford that chassis weight by the end of the season, but it would only come by next season's Australian Grand Prix. So we may as well cease research and development, get 25% extra resource points based on the resource points that we gain from Brazil and Abu Dhabi, and spend those at the start of next season. So that's what we're going to do. We've got 4 upgrades left to go on this Force India, which hopefully we can do next season. We should be able to do those 4 next season, but that doesn't mean that we no longer need to get any resource points. Here we are in the practice sessions, going through the practice objectives that the team have set us in a very wet practice session here in Brazil. No surprises there, as Brazil is used to having very wet weather at this circuit, but we managed to get a purple score on the track climatization in the full wet conditions, which is really nice indeed. 20th as well in FP1, a lot better than what we usually get. We usually get right down the back of the field in 22nd position. Here we are doing the tyre wear management this time around, getting a purple score in that one, getting 100 out of 105 points, and even more resource points to spend next season, and once again getting 20th position. And not this time, we didn't just beat both Saubers, we beat a Haas as well, which was really, really nice. But unfortunately, that was the closest that we got in the qualifying objective. We just could not beat that score, and unfortunately, it was only good enough for red. So unfortunately, not getting the resource points there, but it was still good enough for 4th place in FP3, which sets us up really nicely for the qualifying session. A 110.746 is a really, really quick lap around this circuit, just showing you that the cars are getting quicker and quicker with all the upgrades that are getting put on. So that's really interesting to see. It's really nice to see the game develop as the seasons go on. One thing to note after those practice session results is that we were in 4th, and Carlos Sainz was nowhere near the top 12 in that practice session. So if that could happen in the race, or if it could happen in qualifying, then that is going to set us up really nicely for a championship battle finale at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Will that happen in the qualifying session? Let's find out. Here we are then in today's qualifying session at the Brazilian Grand Prix, the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache circuit, as we come round the final corner now, down towards the line for our first lap in this qualifying session. It's good enough for 111.557. We know that we can go a lot faster than that lap time. However, we did set it on the medium tyres, trying to get into Q2 on the medium tyres, meaning that we get 2 sets of fresh tyres in Q2. So there we are, setting our second lap. Not quite an improvement, very close in the times, but unfortunately not close enough, and it's not good enough to get us into Q2. So we have to go for one more lap on the soft tyres, which again is not good enough to get us into Q2. Only good enough for 17th place at the moment. Final lap here in qualifying, 18th place, 3 tenths quicker. Is it enough to get us into Q2? Yes, it is. 13th place in the qualifying session into Q2, and that is very nice indeed. And something that I've noticed in this career mode is it's very difficult to get out of Q1, but getting into Q3 isn't exactly too difficult, as I'm going to show right now. Doing one lap in this qualifying session. It's good enough for 10th position, a 110.764, and I'm not too sure whether anybody's going to improve on that. We do improve on that with a 2 by 2/10 of a second, but we were safe anyway. We didn't have to set that lap time, so we probably should have backed off, saved the tyres a little bit, but good enough for 7th place at the end of the day, getting us into the top 10 shootout alongside the likes of Pascal Wehrlein, Lewis Hamilton, Jolyon Palmer, Max Verstappen, Fernando Alonso, most like my teammate, and the 2 Toro Rossos as well, as we come around the final corner for our first lap in this top 10 shootout. Was the time good enough for? It's a 110.755, so it seems like we're only good enough for a 110 here in qualifying as we come around the final corner once again. This time though, 6/10 quicker as we come across the line. It's good enough for 4th place on the grid, a 110.099, very close to Hulkenberg, Kvyat, and Carlos Sainz time, as you can see there. 1/10, well 2/10 of a second separating 1st to 5th. Unfortunately, we got beaten by Pascal Wehrlein right at the end of the session, but there was very, very little to separate pretty much everyone from 1st down to 8th. Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen were way off the pace in today's qualifying session, so not too sure what's happened to them in Q3, but 4/10 of a second separating 8th and 1st position is a fantastic result in today's qualifying session, just showing you how competitive all these cars are because of all the upgrades that have been put on them. So let's go through the starting grid for today's Brazilian Grand Prix. Danny Kvyat lines up in pole position with his teammate Carlos Sainz, making it another Toro Rosso 1-2 here today. Nico Hulkenberg lines up on the 3rd row. Pascal Wehrlein just beating us to that 4th position, stopping us from getting it a 2nd row knockout for the Force India team. We line up in 5th position, a good qualifying session for me, especially a track where I do struggle for 1 lap pace. Fernando Alonso, he lines up in 6th place with Jolyon Palmer in 7th. Alongside him is Kimi Raikkonen. Lewis Hamilton lines up in 9th with Max Verstappen rounding out the top 10. So at the moment, it's not setting us up very well for a championship battle at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, but there is still 36 laps left to go. There's a lot of chances to try and get past Carlos Sainz. Can we do that? Let's find out as we head over to the race for the Brazilian Grand Prix. It's race day here at the Brazilian Grand Prix for round 20, the penultimate round of this season 3 here at the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache circuit here in Interlagos, just outside Sao Paulo. A circuit which has decided many championships in the past, and it can certainly do that here today again. Carlos Sainz is very close to clinching his first ever World Championship. All he needs to do is make sure that we do not gain 10 points to him, so he could just stroll in behind us in today's race. As you can see right there, 291 points is the points that he scored so far this season. 34 points is the gap. But remember, if we win today's race, Carlos Sainz finishes 3rd or below, we will take the championship battle to the grand finale. Danny Kvyat, though, lining up in pole position. His lap time of a 109.922 was good enough to get pole position with his teammate Carlos Sainz lining up alongside him in 2nd. We line up on the grid in 5th place, and looking at the race strategy for today, it's going to start raining after a few laps in today's race. That's definitely something to take into consideration. I'm definitely going to start on the softs because I have to, because those are the tyres that I use in Q2. And I think that the rain is actually going to come down before we go onto those sets of mediums or hards. So we're going to try and take these soft tyres for as long as we possibly can. Maybe put on a bit of extra fuel as well to try and run rich mix for longer at the start. And yeah, then run around on the intermediates. Hopefully, some of the other drivers behind us decide to pit onto dries before going onto the intermediates. So hopefully something like that could happen, and we could run away with today's race. So let's get on board with the formation lap. Go round, warm up the tyres, warm up the brakes. We're starting in P5, so the job for today is to possibly move over to the left-hand side, get the inside line down in towards turn 1, and try and get past Pascal Wehrlein, Nico Hulkenberg, and most importantly, Carlos Sainz as well. But that is the plan for turn 1. Let's get back to the starting grid to get today's race underway. Here we are then on the grid for today's race. It's the penultimate round of Season 3. It's 5 red lights, lights out, and away we go for today's race. Not the best of starts from myself. We can't exactly move over to the left-hand side because we do have Fernando Alonso right there as we make contact with our teammate and Pascal Wehrlein, but luckily no damage between myself, Pascal Wehrlein, or Nico Hulkenberg. So we go around the outside through turn 3 on Nico Hulkenberg, getting squeezed out by Danny Kvyat, but just about moving our teammate over to the left-hand side, getting past one Toro Rosso. Can we get past Carlos Sainz as well? Not quite, and just having to settle behind for 2nd position. But if we can keep behind him, then we will definitely have a great chance of getting past the Toro Rosso driver down the start-finish straight. We know that we're very quick in a straight line, so that is where we're going to optimize our best performance down that straight to try and get past our championship rival. Here we are though, going round this very slow left-hander, coming into another set of hairpins. A lot of downforce is needed through this section. Luckily, this car has a lot of downforce on it now. If we went back to a couple of races ago and this circuit actually turned up, we would have struggled here because the downforce on our car was absolutely horrific. But now we sorted that out. We're still right on the back of the Toro Rosso driver of Carlos Sainz. We come round to the start, finish straight, following right on the gearbox of Carlos Sainz, going down towards turn 1. Do we have enough straight line speed? I think we do, as we pull over to the left-hand side, setting the fastest lap of the race as well for 1:18.362, although that doesn't really matter as it is only the first lap of the race. But we have got position on our championship rival, but if it stays as it is, Carlos Sainz will still be crowned the world champion for season 3. So all he needs to do is settle behind me and get second place. But do you know what? I don't think he's going to do that. I still think he's going to try and get the race win as he's sort of stuck in a Force India sandwich at the moment. As he goes up the inside, down in towards that hairpin, still side by side between the two of us. He's going to try and hold it around the outside in towards this next hairpin. Can he do so? No, he can't. He just switches back into position and stays ahead of my Force India teammate. If Nico Hülkenberg, remember, gets past Carlos Sainz, then he will be, well, the championship battle will go to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. So there is still a lot on the line at the moment as we're on board with the Haas driver of Esteban Gutierrez, going down towards the DRS straight now. He's going very slowly. A lot of drivers getting past him. Has he got a puncher on the car? I can't see one at the moment. Yes, he has a rear left puncher there for Esteban Gutierrez. Very, very disappointing as the rain has also started to come down. So we will be looking to possibly go on intermediate tyres very, very soon. It's the safety car. The safety car has been deployed in today's race. That's really going to help us out with strategy. I don't think it's time to go onto the intermediate tyres just yet, and I do not want to take the gamble, because if it does dry up and the rain doesn't last too long, then we're going to unfortunately make a pit stop going onto the intermediate tyres and not actually need them, and then have to go back onto the dries, losing us that pit stop. So what we're going to do is we're just going to stay on the dries for the time being, wait for Jeff, our engineer, to tell us it's time to go on to intermediates, and then we will make that strategy calls. Unfortunately, we're asking for the weather, but he's just saying there is no data available for that, which is really annoying. See, as he's on the pit wall, he should know whether the rain is going to get heavier or not. That's all I want to know, whether it will be good enough for intermediate tyres soon. As Carlos Sainz looking to come into the pit lane, I don't think he's coming onto intermediate tyres, as all the other guys would be coming in behind him, and he's actually going on to another set of super soft tyres, which could be a really bad strategy call if we will be going on to intermediate tyres very, very soon. So this could be a big blunder from Carlos Sainz, but luckily we've got Nico Hülkenberg there just to hold him off, just in case he has made a very masterclass of a tactical decision. So if he has done that, we've got Nico Hülkenberg not too far behind him to hopefully battle him and sort him out and keep him in place. But the safety car is deployed, so everybody's just going to be driving around at a very slow, comfortable position. But at this time, one lap later, I believe it's time to come onto the intermediate tyres. I've had the call from Jeff. The tyres look really cold, so I am coming into the pits for a new set of intermediate tyres. Looks like everybody else behind me as well. Danny Kvyat currently running in second place, and they actually backed off quite a bit coming into the pit lane. So that gave me a huge gap, so hopefully I don't get held up in the pit stop. But here we are, going onto a new set of intermediate tyres. A few drivers getting past now. We are getting held up in the pit lane, but how much by? Quite a bit. I think we've lost a few positions there in today's race already. We are under safety car, so we will still have a chance to get past these drivers. We've got Danny Kvyat still right on our tail, and it looks like the Red Bull and the Ferrari were the two guys to get past us. So it's like there were a couple of drivers as well who haven't actually decided to come into the pits for a set of intermediate tyres just of yet, but they will be coming into the pits on the next lap. So they are sort of just trying to avoid getting caught up by the other guys. But when you're under the safety car, you're going to lose time anyway, because you're going to catch up to the safety car and pretty much get overtaken by everybody anyway. Here's a replay though, on board with Carlos Sainz's pit stop onto the intermediate tyres. So the strategy call that he made was not a good one. He's going to be right down at the back of the field. That's good news for us, because it's going to allow us to hopefully take the championship battle to Abu Dhabi, provided that he does not make his way back through the pack. So hopefully that does happen. He actually, no, I was going to say before he lost the position there to the Haas driver, but I think the Haas was in front of the Sauber. So I think the Haas driver of Roman Grosjean actually lost out position to the Sauber. But here we are on lap 7, getting ready to race once again. The safety car is in this lap, so the safety car is going to shoot off. Kimi Räikkönen's going to back up the pack, and we're going to try and prepare to try and get past Max Verstappen and Kimi Räikkönen under the safety car restart. We know that we have a lot of straight line speed, so if we can get Max Verstappen down in towards turn 1, that would be very, very good, and then possibly get Kimi Räikkönen down towards turn 4. It's yellow flag once again. The race has been restarted. Green flag, and now we can overtake because we're right on the gearbox of Max Verstappen, pulling over to the left-hand side. Great overtake there on the Red Bull driver, having a little look up the inside of Kimi Räikkönen as well, just putting our nose up the inside. He gives us enough room, and there we go, double overtake on the safety car restart, retaking the lead of the race as we have a huge moment going through turn 3 there, nearly completely bottling this race and the championship. But luckily that did not happen. We hold on to the lead of the race, and now we can push on from here to try and hold on to it. However, Kimi Räikkönen does not want to give us that chance as he's following the slipstream, pulling over to the left-hand side, going up the inside, down in towards turn 4. And you know what? I think he's got to be trying to do a switchback move on the Ferrari driver, losing the back, and we just don't have the grip on the wet conditions on these intermediate tyres, losing the back end all over the place at the moment. Unfortunately, Kimi Räikkönen has got the lead of the race, but we're not going to give up on it. We are going to follow behind it. We have got very good downforce on this car now with the max upgrades that we have done on it. Going down in towards this hairpin, still right behind the Ferrari driver, looking to try and get an overtake as we move over to the left-hand side in towards the next hairpin. Can we do anything around here? On the grass as well, still getting the car stopped in time, side by side at the moment on the curb, using as much track as we possibly dare, somehow not losing the back end there as we go through the corner and getting the position away from Kimi Räikkönen. We're watching a replay on board with Carlos Sainz on the same time as we got overtaken by Kimi Räikkönen. He's trying to get past the Sauber and the Haas drive at the moment. They're going side by side, holding him up, which is absolutely fantastic. Cheers, boys. And unfortunately, though, he does get past the Sauber drive, and it looks like he could get past the Haas as well. The Toro Rosso, we know, is very, very quick, and unfortunately, he does get past. Does he get past the Haas driver? Yes, he does, up the inside. He does get past Roman Grosjean there. So, a good battle from both of those guys, but unfortunately, Carlos Sainz is too quick for both of those two as we're watching on board with lap 15. Carlos Sainz coming into the pits once again. What is this strategy called for? Is it a set of dry tyres, which I don't believe it would be, as the rain is still coming down. I don't think it's heavy enough to go onto the full wet tyres. So is he deciding to go onto a set of intermediate tyres? Yes, he is. He's doing a sort of different strategy to me. He feels like the intermediate tyres will not last till the time that it dries up. So he's going on to another set of intermediate tyres, so then he cannot wear them out too much. Whereas I am going to make these intermediate tyres last as long as they possibly can in an attempt to try and get them to the dry stage, because I do not want to lose out positions in pit stops. And I want to make at least the least amount of pit stops as I possibly can in this race to try and give me the maximum opportunity to win it. So at the moment, Carlos Sainz just ahead of Jenson Button there, behind the Williams of, I believe, Valtteri Bottas. Yes, it is, but he moves over to the left-hand side. He gets an easy overtake there on Valtteri Bottas up the inside, and that's Carlos Sainz moving up another position, showing exactly why he is a worthy champion for Season 3. I do think if he does win this championship, he definitely deserves it. His teammate is doing a fantastic job right now of holding up the Ferrari Red Bull of, I believe that is Sebastian Vettel and Daniel Ricciardo. We go down in towards turn 4. Carlos Sainz getting held up by both those guys. And the Williams of Valtteri Bottas getting involved as well. A little bit of contact between the three of them. But Carlos Sainz manages to squeeze his car in the middle of the Red Bull and the Williams and takes position once again, showing why he would be a worthy champion of Season 3. His driven so well this season that he does deserve. He's won 8 races, for goodness sake, so he does deserve this championship, but we still want to win it. We still want to win this championship. We've been given the call there by Jeff to go onto the dry tyres. Look at the tyre wear, 70% on the front. Absolutely disgusting. Taking them to their literal limits here in the wet weather conditions. It's dried up now, and so that we can go onto the hard tyres, which is good news for us, because that means that we can push on from here and make a good strategy call, because we were trying to take this as long as possible. A lot of the other guys behind us have come into a pit stop a lot earlier than us already, so they've made an extra pit stop, which means that we have a huge gap over those guys, about 20 seconds. So at the moment, we have a huge gap at the lead. But there is a Toro Rosso deciding not to go onto the dry tyres just now. Who is that? It's Carlos Sainz, my championship rival, trying to do everything he possibly can to try and take this, to try and end the championship right now. He's deciding to stay out on the intermediates. I don't know whether he's going to go all the way to the end of the race on those tyres. I don't think he is. I think he's just trying to make sure that he doesn't lose time by getting held up by Danny Kvyat in the pit stop phase, because he was right behind him. So if Carlos Sainz had come into the pits, he would have been held up by Danny Kvyat and lost out a lot of time. But we are right behind the Toro Rosso man, and this just shows it is definitely time for the dry tyres. Look how much quicker I am compared to Carlos Sainz. Unfortunately, though, not able to find a gap to go under to go for the overtake. I've got such a lead at the front at the moment, so there's no point risking any moves right now as I back off through here, not going for a full move around the outside. There's just not any point. There's no point of going for an overtake, losing my race, allowing Carlos Sainz to take me out, and ending the championship battle here as we get an easy move there on the left-hand side, just with a better traction on these dry tyres. And I'm pretty sure that Carlos Sainz, yes, he is coming into the pits right now for a new set of dry tyres. But is he going for the hards, or is he going for the medium tyres? He's taken those intermediate tyres one lap extra, so he may be able to go onto the medium tyres till the end of the race. No, he unfortunately can't, and he is going to have to settle for those hard tyres. However, where is he going to come out in the drivers' race standings? As he goes through turn 1 and then turn 2 at the moment. I think he's going to come out in 5th position, which I believe it is. Yes, he is. He is in 5th position in today's race, which is fine. It still takes the championship to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Here we are on the final lap. It's been a dominating drive for me once again. It seems like that has been a lot of the case over the last couple of races in this season. You know, we had Mexico, which we dominated. We've dominated in Brazil, and we're going to come down to take the checkered flag at the Brazilian Grand Prix, our 5th win of the season, and that is how you end a race in style. What a dominating drive from myself there at today's Brazilian Grand Prix, making that one less stop in the dry and the wet conditions, because some of the drivers made that extra pit stop at the start of the race under the safety car, and then we decided not to make that extra pit stop in the intermediate conditions as well. And it really paid off, getting a gap at the end of the day by 5 seconds, as Fernando Alonso did come back at us at the end of the race, unfortunately. But still, 5 seconds, it's still a comfortable margin, and that is exactly what we want at the end of the day. We just want to win these races and try and give us the best opportunity to try and catch up to Carlos Sainz. At the end of the day, the only thing we can do is push on and take the race win and just hope for the best that Carlos Sainz slips up somewhere. But let's go through the standing order for today's race. We won today's race, a great result for us, with Fernando Alonso getting on the podium in 2nd place. Kimi Räikkönen finishes in 3rd, with Danny Kvyat in 4th, holding up his teammate Carlos Sainz, who finished the race in 5th, gaining 15 points on him in the championship. Nico Rosberg, he finishes today's race in 6th, with my teammate Nico Hülkenberg in 7th, Rio Haryanto 8th, Valtteri Bottas in 9th, and Max Verstappen getting the final championship point. Unfortunately for Kevin Magnussen, only getting 11th place. However, he did qualify in 21st, so 11th place from 21st is still a really good result. Not quite as good as Nico Rosberg, who qualified 22nd and finished the race in 6th. So a great result there for the Mercedes man. Looking further down the field, and no DNFs from today's race, which is really good to see. You do not want to see any drivers crash out or have any reliability issues, and no real drivers messing up, apart from Pascal Wehrlein, who qualified in 4th position, finishing down in 14th. Disappointing race there from the Manor driver, but let's see where this puts us in the drivers' standings. And there we go, 19 points is the gap in the championship at the moment, taking the championship battle to the grand finale, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix for Season 3. Who will come out on top between myself and Carlos Sainz? Only time will tell, and we will find out who is our Season 3 champion by the end of that race. It's still going to be a difficult challenge at that race, though, to win the Drivers' Championship, because we have to win the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix and hope that Carlos Sainz finishes 8th or lower. If he finishes 7th, we will go equal on points, but unfortunately because he has 8 race wins and I would have 6 if I win the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, then unfortunately he will still be crowned the world champion. So we'd still have a lot to do at that final race. We have to win the race, which we have been doing in the last previous races, so we have got the momentum at the moment, but it's still going to be a very, very difficult thing, especially to try and hope that Carlos Sainz slips up somewhere in that race. The constructors' standings was wrapped up last time at the Mexican Grand Prix, so nothing really to talk about there. So let's head back to the menus. A quick look then at the rivalry update before we end today's episode. And we absolutely smashed Danny Kvyat in the race. But unfortunately, like previous races, he beat us with the fastest lap times, getting those ticks there and taking it 26 to 15 going into the final race between the two of us. So a little bit disappointing there. We have 825 resource points to spend at the moment at the start of next season, which is really good. Plus we get a 25% bonus on those as well, which is really, really interesting indeed. But that is it for today's Brazilian Grand Prix. If you have enjoyed the episode, don't forget to smash that like button. Also, subscribe to my channel if you are new around here, as we are going to take this championship battle all the way till the end of the season, right up until the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. It's going to go down to the wire between the two of us. Well, I say down to the wire when Carlos Sainz has a much bigger chance of winning the championship than we do. But this is Formula 1. Anything can happen, and as the saying goes, it usually does as well. So I will see you next time at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix for the finale of this Season 3. But until then, it's goodbye from me.